Welcome to a world of wonder. A time where all television shows were in the future, and mankind tuned in on their radios and turned to simpler pursuits, like murder. Yes, my friends, here is one of the bone-chilling tales of Dex Ranger, Private Eye, brought to you by RX Brand Smokes and Dino Bone Coal. We present to you The Day That Time Forgot.
It was a day like any other, although it was actually night. I was in my office waiting for the rain to stop so I could sneak out for a bite before my next case. I was in the middle of dreaming up my perfect meal when a knock sounded on the door. Now that was particularly interesting, for I didn't have a door. Jimmy the Fist had busted it down just last week, looking for the elephant gem I had recovered from the... Sorry, back to now. Actually, the typewriter was odd too. I had never owned one.
Ah, my dear friend Dex Ranger. What a pleasant surprise.
Today had really taken a turn I couldn't follow. Where had the chief of police managed to find both a door and a typewriter? Why was he so surprised to see me in my own office? I knew these were questions I had to answer if the game was to stay afoot. Constable eyed me expectantly, sweat shining in the dull evening moonlight. Good evening, Constable. You're quite a surprise yourself, but you came here, so why don't you go first?
Of course. I stopped by on my evening rounds to see how you were getting on with your case.
Again with the riddles. You must have known I was currently between cases, so why the stalling? What did he really want? What case?
Why, the one your secretary is about to bring you.
But I don't have a...
Mr. Ranger, there's a young lady to see you, and seems frightened. Something terrible, Mr. Ranger. I really think you should go help her out.
Hang on a second. The doc had given me some cocaine for a toothache I'd been having. I began to suspect I was having an adverse reaction from mixing it with the peyote.
Mr. Ranger, should I send her in?
Yes, send her in, Miss, Secretary and Constable. Is it raining?
It looks like you may be hallucinating again, Dex. Another toothache, perhaps?
I'm afraid so. Modern medicine, am I right? Through the busted remains of my office door, a dame stepped in, and I could tell right away that she was trouble.
Hello, Mr. Ranger and Gloria Miles.
Evening, Mrs. Miles. I'm Chief of Police, Constable Huxtable.
Oh, I can't talk to the police. That was the first thing the note said. Wait, why are you chief and constable?
My name is Constable. My parents wanted me to be an officer of the law, better than my brother. They wanted him to play the piano, and he had a rough time in school over that name.
That name sounds like it would catch on the tongue. But still, I can't be seen talking to you. The note was very clear.
I hadn't noticed it until then, but I'd been completely excluded from the conversation. I quickly sought a way back in. You mentioned a letter, Mrs. Miles?
It was pinned to my husband's shirt.
Your husband? Did he put it there?
He couldn't have, and I read it as he was indisposed.
It was on a loose shirt of your husband's?
He was wearing it. It's just, well, he was dead at the time.
Is anyone else hearing an organ?
No, Chief. Anyway, doll, are you here for the letter or your husband's murder?
Well, both, I suppose. The letter says I can't speak to the police and must seek out the private eye known as Dex Ranger. It also says that if you are not put on the case of who murdered my beloved Nat, that I will join him in the afterlife.
Oh, is that so? It sounded like my old nemesis was afoot. No, not afoot. It's a line from that bard, Shakespeare. Anyway, I'd had several run-ins with the charming and deadly Seamus Rasho Colty, and I was beginning to suspect that the master villain was busy plotting my imminent demise. Mrs. Miles, I will take the case. How will you be paying?
Why, the usual way, of course. Is there more than one?
I've heard hearsay there will be several ways in the not-so-distant future.
I spent a moment silently contemplating the back of the police chief's head before deciding not to ask a follow-up question. I wasn't really interested in the day getting weirder. Since I apparently had a secretary now, though, maybe she could pick up the phone instead. It was really beginning to get on my nerves. I couldn't recall her name, so I played it cool. Can someone grab that phone?
Why? It's not going anywhere.
I made a mental note to dock her pay, as soon as I figured out if I paid her or not. Mrs. Miles' large, sad eyes were begging for my help, and even though I was sure it was a trap, I knew right then I wanted a showdown with that vile fiend Occulty. Mrs. Miles, I will take the case.
But, Mr. Ranger, you already...
The case in your hand, Mrs. Miles? I'm assuming it contains the murder note and several other notes from a certain U.S. Federal Reserve. The down payment on your case.
Yes, of course. Here you are.
I quickly searched the case's contents and determined that I was very interested in this case, monetarily speaking. I turned to Constable. His attention seemed to be elsewhere, but with a light tap on the shoulder, he was focused back on the case.
Are you ready to get to the crime scene?
Let's get there and make it yesterday, for I have a fiend to catch.
This thrilling episode of Dex Ranger Private Eye has been brought to you by RX Brand Smokes. We will return right after these messages. Can you smell that fresh mountain air, that glacier cool water? The only thing on this earth more wonderful for the senses is RX Brand Smokes. Not only is it better than fresh air, it's sweeter than apple pie. RX Brand Smokes is recommended by 9 out of 10 doctors. Sure to get your lungs working and give you that gentlemanly air only the truly distinguished can claim. RX Brand Smokes is your ticket to healthy living and great adventure. So smoke what your doctor smokes. Smoke what your boss smokes. Smoke your way to a healthier future with RX Brand Smokes. We return now to the wild tale of the day that time forgot, starring Dex Ranger. When we left off, our protagonist was heading to the scene of the crime. Now we return to the building where the Miles family resided as the Chief of Police and Private Eye climbed towards the residence itself.
I really hate stairs. There must be 50 floors in this building. Can't anyone ever get murdered on the ground floor?
I really can't see how you aren't hearing an organ. It sounds like it's right here in the stairwell with us.
The only thing I can hear is the sound of my heart taking a temporary leave of absence. Did you hear what I said? There must be 50 floors in this building.
It's probably the cocaine. Morphine is much better for a toothache. My gran would use old fish. You know, it's probably just one of those, what do you call them, where it's in your head?
Do you mean like a placebo?
I guess. But to be quite honest, I've never heard it in French before.
Before the chief could further damage my sanity, we arrived at the door of the apartment. It had been closed, but not locked. I quickly entered the abode and found myself face to face with the last person I expected to see here.
Oh, look, boys, it's that Private Dick and his pal, Friday the policeman.
Jimmy the Fist! I thought you were serving time down near Albany.
I was. It's quite a spice. I managed to work into most of the dishes I served at the restaurant I was working in. You know, while I laid low from that elephant keeper.
Jimmy the Fist, what are you doing in our crime scene?
I have to admit, I'd never realized how similar their voices were, the chief and the mobster. They even looked a bit alike if you squinted real hard and had the lights off. Jimmy had mentioned his boys earlier, but I didn't see anyone else there with him, barring the tragically deceased, who still lay on the ground behind the mobster. I quickly drew a gun with one hand.
That's not even a very good drawing at all. See, the trick is drawing the barrel first. That way you don't end up with this cartoon version of a gun.
It's the best I could do. I only had the one hand to do it with. I was pulling out my gun with the other, you see?
Well, that looks nothing like the picture, but you should know while you were stalling, I also drew my gun as well.
See? That's what I mean, Dex. Barrel first. That is a fantastic piece of art, Jimmy. And Dex,
What?
he's also got his real gun out as well.
That's right. Nice and easy. Put your hands up. The both of you.
What do you expect me to do with this gun?
Lay it down and kick it over.
With my hands up?
This is why nobody likes you, Gumshoe. You're, what's that word?
Inane?
Curious.
I was going to say dead meat, but I suppose I'll let my steel do the talking.
I hadn't understood a word that gun said. So much for letting the steel do the talking. I decided to add some counterpoints of my own, and when Betsy spoke, there was no need for translation.
Ah!
scare the little lady.
He's dead, Dex. Plain dead.
He had it coming. But it looks like we found our killer and dealt him the harsh slap of Lady Justice. All in a day's work, ma'am.
Oh, he was just delivering pizza. He couldn't have killed poor Mr. Miles.
How do you know, Ms.
Featherhammer. Molly Featherhammer, and it's just Miss.
That's what I...
Never mind what you said. What did you say, Miss Featherhammer?
Featherhammer. Molly Featherhammer, and it's just Miss.
No, before that.
Oh, Jimmy was just delivering the pizza I ordered from Tony's. It's right down the block. They hired him because he did some time down near Albany.
So Jimmy wasn't the murderer. That does explain the pizza box on the floor. So how do you know that, Miss?
Just Miss, thank you. My mother was Mrs. Featherhammer, and I'm nothing like her, that old bat.
I sighed, deeply and dramatically, hoping to rally the rapidly scattering attentions of my companions. It went entirely without notice, so I crossed over to the delightfully cool Mr. Miles and turned him over. I took stock of my surroundings, using my keen observational wits to paint the grisly picture of this man's demise. It was then I noticed something rather odd. I say, look at all the candles all over this room. Thin, tapered candles, and they are the only light in here.
Aha! Your theory about Seamus is getting a little legwork now, isn't it? Why else would there be so many candles, except for reasons of the food?
Just a minute, you think this was Seamus? That could explain what I saw.
Go on.
I saw the murder only through the opening of my own door. I'm part of the building committee, you see, and there's been some manner of commotion from the Miles residents. I assumed it was their cat. Farthly anecdote. But by the time I opened my door, the cat was busy tearing down the hall, hissing a fearsome racket. I turned to the Miles doorway and saw a dark figure in long green robes, holding a bloody knife. And there, right before my eyes, oh, it was horrible.
I tried to be patient, but a far more well-paying dame was in danger, so I had to hurry this along. She was going into hysterics, and I knew it would take far too long to let her regain her wits about her. I'll assume you saw Mr. Miles? Dead. Pretty much as he is now. Although, granted, he's taken on some rather unhealthy color since yesterday.
Yes, it was the most terrible thing I'd ever seen, so I went back into my home, bolted the door.
And called for a pizza?
Certainly, officer, it helps calm my nerves. Unless someone shoots the delivery man as well. Imagine where I'd be now if it wasn't for my ketamine treatments I'd take for my sinuses. I'd probably be positively stiff with fright.
Well, do you remember anything else about the murderer?
No, but if you ever run afoul of that man, you be careful. He's murdered once, he'll do it again.
Okay, that's it. It's not even raining. Tell me you heard the thunder. At least tell me you heard that.
Ignoring the chief, I circled the body, like a tiger waiting for its prey to bound helplessly to the watering hole. And then I saw it. Chief, take a look at this.
That's very interesting.
I know. I've never seen one quite like it. After some urgent waving, a man waiting in the wings of the apartment beckoned me over and handed me a note. The note had been scrawled in a hurry, and when I looked up, the man had vanished, leaving naught but a ripple in the wall fabric. The note said, "It's a radio drama, for Christ's sakes. Explain what you found to the listeners. They can't see you, you giant daft bat." Chief, how would you describe what you are seeing? Descriptively.
It's a goiter. Just a very large one. It's not really relevant to the case, though.
Thank you, Chief. Miss, where's the powder room? I need to powder my nose.
It's right behind you, Mr. Ranger. You don't look like a man who uses makeup.
He means cocaine. He's got quite the toothache.
Poor man.
After a sniff of Dr. Madame Raganoff's calming night powder, I got the chief to join me as we began our hunt for this ghoul of a man occulti, hopefully before more bodies tumbled in his wake.
This thrilling episode of Dex Ranger, Private Eye has been brought to you by Dino Bone Coal. We will return right after these messages. Deep beneath the earth, thousands of mighty dinosaurs lay slumbering the sleep eternal, but they did not die in vain. Meet Dino Bone Coal, the fuel of the future. Are you tired of shoveling in dirty handfuls of coal in your basement furnace? Tired of breathing the terrible fumes in your dusky cellars? Dino Bone Coal is your answer. In the future, every house will be powered by a Dino Coal furnace, specially designed to go on the roof of your home. Say goodbye to thick clouds of black smoke and hello to a brighter and warmer winter. Dino Bone Coal, the fuel of the future. return now to the wild tale of the day that time forgot, starring Dex Ranger. We gather back in, eager listeners, to the Vapor Lounge, where a sinister man sits at a booth in hooded green robes, waiting with an oily smile to greet Dex Ranger.
Well, hello, Dex Ranger, my oldest and best nemesis. We meet again.
Why, you villainous, miserable bag of filth. Take that! And take this! Uppercut!
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Dex, settle down. Sorry, Mr. Occulti. He's a little excitable today.
I think it's the cocaine. You know, toothache. Ah, that explains it. No harm done, as they say. I don't believe I've had a reason to be crossing paths with you, Detective. I've committed no major heresy today.
What good is your word, you villainous wretch?
The word is irrefutable.
Oh, that's a good word. Mine is aardvark.
That sounds tricky to roll off the tongue.
Yes, it is. Aardvark, 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 aard...
Shut up, both of you. Did you or did you not, Seamus Raja Occulti, murder this woman's husband in cold blood?
Who are you pointing to, Detective? That's a lamp.
Right. So you want to play hardball, is it?
I'm not sure we have enough players.
Chief, this is good cop, silent cop. You're doing silent cop. Got it?
Absolutely.
The chief wandered off to get a drink. That was good. I'd begun to think I'd never get to the bottom of this case. Seamus was watching me with his vile sneer dripping through my good graces like oil through yogurt. However, the chief was right. I needed a confession, and maybe a break from the toothache medicine. All right, you scumbag lowlife. Spill, and maybe I'll let you off easy with only a death sentence.
Oh, very good, Detective. You think you have me trapped in a corner, do you? Ask your questions. I'll decide if you're worth an answer. Wait, what are you doing?
Take my toothache is better.
What?
Take my toothache is better.
Your toothache? Oh, I really think you should stop with the cocaine. It's the devil's dust.
That's him. I thought consorting with the devil's dust was your job, Occulti.
Oh, I don't. I prefer blends of all natural herbs and teas. Also, I'm vegan. It's very liberating not having to deal with conventional medicine.
No matter, servant of darkness. Let me see your ritual knife.
Let go of me! You have no right to!
Aha! Here is the blade, but I don't understand. Where's the blood?
The blood! You sound completely delusional, my dear Dix. Who is it I was to have murdered?
Mr. Nattering Miles, you unspeakable buffoon.
Oh, sure, that works as an epithet. Never mind. Nattering. Goes by Nat.
That's the one.
Never heard of him. Wait! No need to get violent again. I've never heard of him, but we have met a few times. He wanted me to bless his business with good fortune. That's not a crime, is it? But I've never heard of him until just now.
Then how do you explain the candles all over the crime scene? That's the mark of the occult, you know.
It's also a mark of not paying your electric bill. Or of owning a candle wax perfumery emporium. Like that newfangled Yankee candle place.
What are you drinking?
I think it's called a fuzzy navel. I had a friend named Nero Wolf suggest it to me. It's not bad.
So the candles aren't part of some dark ritual?
Well, usually yes, but I haven't performed any such rituals for a good while.
Seamus? What's wrong?
He seems to be choking. If I didn't know better, I'd say it was poison.
Poison? I thought you said it was a fuzzy navel.
No, I think you've been poisoned. Oh, heavens to Betsy. Dex, he's dead.
This thrilling episode of Dex Ranger Private Eye has been brought to you by Pandora. We will return right after these messages. Are you tired of commercials during your radio dramas? Eager to hear Roosevelt's speeches without having to listen to fibromyalgia or mesothelioma lawsuit ads? For a limited time only, try a month of Pandora Premium Free. Ad-free listening, infinite skips, all the replayability you could ever dream of. For those nights when you want to listen to Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy from Company B on repeat, get Pandora Premium today. We return now to the wild tale of the day that time forgot, starring Dex Ranger. We find our tired protagonist glumly eating breakfast in his mother's house.
What's the matter, Dexy? Not enjoying your Vitaquik cereal mix?
It's not that, Mama. I do enjoy the wholesome flavor of Vitaquix, and I love the way it gets me all the vitamins I need quickly. But I'm stuck in one of the toughest cases of my career.
Oh, what has my little Dexy down?
I told you to stop calling me that, Ma. I'm 40. I deserve to have the name I want.
I could go back to calling you Dexamillion if you prefer. He told me the other boys made fun of your name.
Yeah, Ma. Since when is Dex short for Dexamillion? You couldn't just name me Dexter?
It's too serial killery. Too modern. I'm not an edgy mom, like some of those Florida hens preening in the sunlight and complaining about everything under the sun. I just wish... Dexy?
I was intently studying my case files and couldn't hear my mother calling for me. I would have gone on this way for quite some time if she hadn't rapped on my head with a spoon.
Ow!
Dexy, aren't you forgetting something?
Of course, Mother. I floss every day. It's not like I want to have a toothache.
Not that. Oh, never mind. Here, there's a list of things I need for tonight. Can you be a dear and get them from the store for me?
Yes, Ma. I'll get it on my way home tonight. No need to fret.
That will be too late, Dexy. Why don't you just go now? That poor Mr. Miles isn't going anywhere. Can't you help your poor old mama?
Yes, Mother. I'll go. Get one of the Vapor Lounge girls to drop it off for me.
They grow up so fast. Here today, gone tomorrow. Never by your leave. What a shame. He didn't give me a peck on the cheek. Didn't even take his coat. But one day he'll remember me. One day.
I knew I was hearing something. What's this then? Playing in the walls without a permit. That's a fine, that is. Come back. Wait!
This thrilling episode of Dex Ranger, Private Eye, has been brought to you by U.S. Cold War Bonds. We will return right after these messages. We may still be pre- or post-World War II, depending on broadcast times, but forward-thinking researchers in the U.S. Institute for Applied Grants and Grant Research and Grants Division have completed a study that shows our next enemy won't be the usual hot-tempered Huns, but rather icy cold Ivans. The USA GGRRGD has begun raising funds for what it calls the Democratic March on Global Communism, and we need you to buy our Cold War bonds today. These bonds have been printed in extremely cold temperatures to simulate the war in which their funding will be used. And with your patriotic support, America will be able to put the heavy thaw on the Red Invasion. Join Uncle Sam, buy Cold War bonds today and say, chill out, comrade, for America. What shadow is that lurking beneath the street lamp? None other than our hero, Dex Ranger, still searching for the twisted truth behind the day that time forgot.
I had been wandering the streets aimlessly for what seemed like years, but what was probably only about a minute. It's hard to keep track, what with my mind wandering the magic poppy fields of... No, that seems unlikely. Atlantis was an underwater city, after all. Few poppy fields to be found. Anyway, I was wandering the street without a clue or insight to guide me. I had all but put the case in the unsolvable pile, and that would mean a far smaller payout than I'd originally been hoping for. I was going to have to go back to solving burglary cases for the city, because the Gloria Miles-sized cash cases only showed up when their husbands died, which, barring the case of the Black Widow, was rather infrequent. I had turned around, ready to admit defeat when I spied the sign I'd been hoping to find. There it is, my trusted compatriot. Velvel's fine tailoring shoppy.
Constable?
Oh, right. He'd gone off in pursuit of some wild fiction or the other. Oh well, I'd get the skinny on the case myself. I opened the door and came face to face with Velvel, the proprietor of the fine tailoring shoppy. He eyed me with a keen stare that seemed to at once size up my clothes and possibly that beer-battered, smoke-damaged crate of goods I called my soul.
Shalom, shalom. How is my best friend the detective on this geschmolze day?
Fabulously, save for the murder.
Oh, sweet gefilte and schmear. You're my best friend, so why am I furious at you? You are in need of a lawyer?
I'm not the murderer, Velvel. I'd never kill a man in cold blood.
But women? You're fine with murdering?
You know, I love our mental struggle of wits, old friend. But I'm actually here today to talk to your wife, Vladimirova.
You don't have time for a little Hamish banter? You have quite an interesting take on the alum, and I'd love to learn more.
I have to admit, I understood less of what Velvel said every time we spoke. It was like the old country of his was a blanket, and he'd snuggle in any time it was a little chilly. Either way, my razor-sharp intellect had been dulled by the events of the day, and I wanted to get some solid answers. Vladimirova? Your wife? No time, Velvel. No time.
Ah, shame. It's been a while since I had a geschmuck conversation. But all right. If you keep your voice down, she's got quite the headache.
Your pocket is buzzing. It's making a very interesting noise.
Ah, Baba Mises. You shouldn't believe everything you hear.
But I'm hearing it now.
Nonsense, nonsense, Vladmirova. Our friend Dexter is here to see you.
But
Now you have time to talk? Asa Bittisman. Go, shoo. For this answer, you'll have to wait like 50 years.
I stumbled through into the back section of the shoppy, and after Velvel propped the door open for one of his usual inscrutable reasons, and after I valiantly decided not to press on with questioning him, I came face to face with Vladimirova Gesund, wife of Velvel and a long-time communicator with the future.
Ah, Dexterity Rangehood. What a pleasure to see you fumble confusedly into my shop once more.
Ah, yes, doll.
Matroshka.
Bless you.
No, not doll. I am not doll. If anything, I'm Matroshka. It means doll in Russian.
Right. Vladimirova, I'm investigating the murder of...
Of Mr. Nattering Miles. Tragedy is always the easiest thing to read, followed by Reader's Digest, but only the large print editions, otherwise it's a blur. Don't just stand there. Why don't you ask me what you came to ask me?
How do you do that?
Wrong. That's not what you came to ask me. Try again.
Can you tell me who murdered?
Wrong. The world beyond knows when one is being duplicitous, Mr. Range.
You never seem to get my name right.
Wrong. More will die unless you ask the right question.
Okay, how much do I owe you?
Ah, now you are asking the right question. I need only one thing from you. A set of those Cold War bonds you advertised earlier.
You've gone from puzzle solver to puzzle to be solved. This isn't helping my case.
You want help with your case? You see a tailor. I have one I could recommend, in fact. You want help with your investigation, Detective Romero. You see a weaver of the fates. Odd. There's usually thunder when I say that. Never mind. Let's do this one pro bono. I have a feeling the listeners are getting restless.
Finally! So, madame, I need to know who murdered Mr. Nattering.
Let me consult my magic crystal lantern.
Not a crystal ball, or...
You detect. I magic. Or do you want to have a go with the spirits?
I briefly entertained the thought of doing just that, but I'll admit that I'm a little shy around the spirit world. Perhaps it would be best if you...
Already did it while you were in voiceover. This is quite troubling. I see that you are deeply involved in this case. Maybe more than you know. Also, there are disquieting rumors, words adrift without meaning. Tell me, Dexteros, have you ever heard of Rumple of the Belly?
No.
Never mind then. There is one close to you, a woman heavens, no. I mean another. Someone you spoke with. Someone who saw robes of green. But did she tell you about the hood? It wasn't there. And she herself, she stands amidst a bed of snakes. She isn't who she says she is. There's an organ. Wait, no, maybe not. But most definitely those candles. She knows what they are. She's seen them before. And a name, it's Holy Flammer?
Molly Featherhammer is the murderer? I don't believe it.
No, but she will lead you to the clues you need. And detective, do you remember this painting, The Crossing of the Delaware?
No.
Wow, I am not even from here. Wow, you are most amazing. Tell me, do you draw breath yourself, or must someone else do it for you?
I was feeling a little off today, for sure. I was almost positive that last statement had been rude, but maybe she meant something else. I decided to nod instead.
Anyway, he's that cute little Washington and his little army crossing the Delaware, on their way to surprise the German mercenaries who were fighting for the British. A good night for America, no?
I would think yes.
Right. And let's just say this Molly's ancestors weren't thrilled with how that night went, if you catch my drift.
I didn't, but I had to go. This had been a colossal waste of time, and now I needed a drink. Maybe Sterling would be able to cheer me up. I decided to head to the Vapor Lounge.
Normally I would have patience for such mental conversations, but today I am in a special rush, so I, Madame Vladimirova, Nikolova Marksinava Rasputina Ivana Gasunt, will give you a reminder that you must hold most dear. You should probably go shopping for your mother with the list she gave you. Soon, if not sooner.
Wait, was all that your name?
No, just the Russian-y bits. The rest was a reminder. I see you have another question. The answer is, my father wanted a boy. Turns out, I really just wanted another mother, so we were even.
I nodded again, feeling foolish. She had tried to help in her own way.
Out before I ask Velvel to play you his violin.
That was my cue. Velvel wasn't a killer, but his violin had murdered a dozen men just from sheer terror at the cacophony the two created. I nodded again and fled the room.
Have yourself a joyous evening, detective. Try not to do any murder. Will Dex Ranger ever solve this case? Will the murderer murder and murder until there's no one left to murder? Stay tuned to find out after these messages from our sponsors. When you have a mild toothache, or a touch of influenza, or just a case of dropsy, you can rely on Vanity Jane's cocaine remedies to get you feeling great. Fast-acting relief from all your major symptoms. Cure your hunger, your hangovers, your tired waking hours. As that great old lady in New York Harbor proudly declares, give me your tired, your sick, your huddled masses yearning to breathe in Vanity Jane's cocaine remedies. Talk to your doctor today and see if Vanity Jane's nose candy is right for you. Vanity Jane's cocaine is not responsible for sneezing, coughing, choking, dying, violent nausea, civil unrest, Colombia, Dave Pigs, Coca-Cola, pain, bleeding, nose warts, CIA, alcohol, ill pepper, the Taliban, bleeding from the eyes, inability to function in normal social environment, the future, acts of God, terrorism, the awakening of the ancient old ones, slumbering beneath the earth and waiting for the stars to shine on their vile rain, poor, or any other symptoms, side effects of using this medicine. Please use responsibly. Never say goodbye. We return now to the wild tale of the day that time forgot, starring Dex Ranger. When danger vexes, call Dex Ranger. But when Dex is vexed, where does he go? We rejoin our hero at the Vapor Lounge, where he buries his sorrows in the depths of his fuzzy navel.
These are quite good. I was very surprised to find out that the chief had great taste in booze, if little else. My muse had just finished performing In the Mood, and now she walked over to me. What a broad. It's true what they say. All that glitters isn't gold, but if it shimmers, it's got to be sterling shimmers. It's too bad that theft is a crime, 'cause I'd have told her how she stole my heart long ago.
Hello, Dex. Long time.
Well, lunch was hours ago, and I was working a case. But that's all behind me now. Now that I get to see you, of course.
Oh, stop, Dex. You're too kind. I was going to say it seemed like you were working very hard on something to have had so many fuzzy navels.
I'm just contemplating the case and how hard it is to pursue justice when your murderer is murdered by the actual murderer right in front of you.
What do you mean? Your case involves murder?
Most foul, I'm afraid.
Actually, I'm pretty sure that's only crows.
What?
What?
Never mind. It's just, I don't know. Why can't my cases be as easy to solve as you are to look at?
Why, Mr. Ranger, a girl might get notions you talking like that. Could it be the hard-boiled detective is ready to settle down?
Sorry, doll. I only have time for one lady, and her name rhymes with Lady Justice.
I don't think you can rhyme a word with it.
Save your tears, love. For one day, the world will be a safer and more financially stable place. And then you can bet every song you've ever sung, I'll be right here to scoop you up.
I'm flattered, Dex, but what can you tell me about the case? You usually don't deal with murder.
True, but this case came to me. You know Gloria Miles, dame with a husband by the name of Nattery?
I do, actually. Nattering Miles used to come here often, but Gloria used to come drag him home, scolding him something fierce. Is she the victim?
In a way, yes. Her husband took the one-way ticket to a tango with death, but he's got her dance card as well. I'm afraid her number still might get punched.
Wow, it's a good thing you're a great detective, 'cause your metaphors are terrible. That's such awful news about poor Mr. Miles.
What makes things worse is that my arch-nemesis, Seamus Rajo Colty, is dead as well. My number one victim killed right here by cruel poison as I sat helpless. And now I have no leads.
Well, that is a shame. It's often the only way to solve a case I've found.
Gadzooks! You aren't dead?
Dex, he's been here all day and racking up quite a tab for one of the deceased.
Good detective is not wrong, milady. I was quite dead for a while.
Your voice, it sounds different.
I'm pretty sure I always sounded this way. Did you catch my killer yet? And close your mouth. You look like you've seen a ghost.
I'm sorry. Did you say you were dead?
That's what you're getting hung up on. What about the fact that my killer's still out there? They might circle back for me at any time.
I think my toothache is back.
Hang on! Dex, you can't go taking medicine off the tablecloth. Think of the poor maids. Seamus, how did you die?
This girl asked the right questions. Maybe she should do the detective work. I'm impressed.
Again, I felt the conversation circling the drain of me no longer playing a large part, so I quickly interjected. There was still something that didn't make sense. Seamus, how did you die?
Wow.
Wow.
What?
I just asked that.
You just asked what?
Okay. I'm going to answer you, Mrs. Shimmers. Please fill in the detective later when his trains are all hooked back up. I died because poison was added to me cake. You see, someone is trying to get to Mr. Ranger here, and he's missing the clues. And this is only going to get worse if he doesn't figure it out.
Stop that van! Did anyone see that crazed organist run through here? Tell me you saw him.
Chief, you seem a little shaken.
I just chased that raggedy organ monkey through a whole scene. Of course I'm shaken. Oh, hello, Seamus.
Constable.
Wait a minute, is that the murderer's note to the victim?
Why, yes. I suppose it is. I must have been carrying it around with me the whole time. Odd thing, that.
Something clicked in my head then. I knew at once, with the clarity of 1,000 fuzzy navels dropping to the floor at once, exactly who the killer was.
I give up. Clearly, I'm just imagining the whole thing.
Chief, gather all my suspects together. It's time for me to reveal the killer!
This thrilling episode of Dex Ranger, Private Eye has been brought to you by VitaQuick Cereal Mix. Stay tuned for the thrilling conclusion of The Day That Time Forgot when we return right after these messages. Vitaquik Cereal Mix is the healthy way to start your morning right. Don't have time to take a vitamin? Wanna eat but don't know how? Always going so quickly your spoon misses your mouth entirely and your breakfast lands on the table? Vitaquix takes all the guesswork and hardship out of serving yourself. Eat Vitaquix, the morning meal of champions. Since the days of Teddy Roosevelt, people have needed to eat, and nothing says America like eating. So do your patriotic duty and eat like there's no tomorrow. And now, for a limited time only, if you order one bowl of specially flavored Vitaquik cereal, you will receive another absolutely free. And that's not all. There's still more. Order now by calling Murray Hill 7147, and if you do it within the next 15 minutes, get a free case of RX brand smokes as well. All you pay is shipping. This deal is too good to miss. Call now, Murray Hill 7147. Once again, that's Murray Hill 7147. We return you now to the wild tale of the day that time forgot, starring Dex Ranger. The scene is in the Vapor Lounge. The time is late, but Lady Justice is blind and doesn't know that. The atmosphere, tense. The lighting, moody. The music, throaty. The scene is set, and all the characters from this episode are gathered, including the late Mr. Miles. As he reclines into his eternal slumber, his killer waits to be revealed in this grand finale to The Day That Time Forgot.
You've all been brought here tonight because one of you murdered Mr. Nattering Miles in cold blood.
If one of them was a lizard, maybe.
Fine, murdered him in warm blood, but with all the warmth of not a lizard, but a snake. That's right, Miss Featherhammer. I know your real name. You're not who you say you are. You see, Molly Featherhammer is really Laura Lee Glockensprung, daughter of an expatriate German scientist. You had the motive and the opportunity to take out Mr. Miles, and you might have if he'd found out your secret. See, Mr. Nattering was also part of the board and didn't know that Miss Laura Lee here was illegally raising snakes in her apartment.
But he didn't know. Surely you don't think I did it.
Oh, the opportunity existed, but no, you didn't take it. But there was another person here with motives aplenty. Isn't that right, Mrs. Miles?
Yes, obviously. He was my husband. Isn't that often reason enough?
Is that a confession? I'm on the edge of my seat here.
You're standing, Constable. Have you been dabbling with the gumshoes gum candy?
It's a confession, all right, that she was a married woman. Seems to me that most of you would feel the same from time to time. But she did not have the opportunity. Isn't that right, Sterling?
She was down here looking for her husband so she could drag him back upstairs at the time of the murder.
Now, how could you know exactly when the murder happened? I would expect Miss Shimmers now.
No, I trust her. She's beyond suspicion.
That seems fair. Of course, it couldn't possibly be the girl you love, could it?
Well, when you're a detective, you can talk. Now stay quiet. My brilliance is shining and you're raining on my monologue.
Yes, let's get back to it. I'm curious who it is.
I'm not curious. I've known since the beginning. I can't find the kosher popcorn. I've looked well all over this very fine establishment I've never been to.
I have some of the one you eat. You know, with a little symbol on them. The food y'all work your magics on and turn more expensive? Yeah, it's next to me cake. But avoid the cake. It was poisoned.
Not that poisoned. You were only dead a few minutes.
Ahem!
Loud. Guys, I don't think the good detective was quite done yet.
Thank you, Constable.
Gavald, how are you, Constable? Because his parents wanted a lawman for a son. And also he became chief. Unlike my father's wishes, I stay stubbornly a girl, and still he tries to change my mind. Of course not, my Aishas Khail. You wouldn't have been quite so interesting to me if you were a man.
I can't believe I'm saying this.
Can we please focus back on the case so I can resume trolling the waves of mental fortuity while dabbling with my witch's brew?
Be still, Agora, but I appreciate the attempt, spawn of evil. While I suspected Madame Vladmirova at first, I decided after lengthy questioning that she could not have committed the murder.
Why? Was there a clue?
Wait. You suspected the unrelated psychic you went to because she was what exactly? Not your girlfriend.
Oh, how you vex me, Demon Thrall. No, because while it seemed odd she knew about poor nattering even without me telling her, I realized her words came from magic and not personal experience. See, she has one thing standing in her way of becoming the murdereress. Madame?
I couldn't have written the note. I only read Cyrillic.
Oh, sprachen Sie Deutsch?
He's Russian, you swit. But did you suspect me, even for a moment?
Thundersmoke! I forgot about you entirely.
Aha! So it's possibly him.
Chief, I already know who the killer is. This is for, what's that word? When it's for the drama?
Dramatic effect?
No. Something with an L, I think. No matter, I'll continue, if that's okay with everyone. Next, I suspected the one who'd been with me nearly every step of the way.
The organist?
You, old friend. Who else had been with me except when the first victim was murdered and Seamus was poisoned? I began to fear that maybe you had done this heinous crime.
Is anyone else annoyed that he accused his friend but not his girlfriend?
Quiet, you malcontent. However, I knew it could not be the chief, because his handwriting is far too sloppy for this note.
Phew. I'm glad it wasn't me. I'm terrible at interrogations. I would have cracked like an egg.
And of course, I suspected Seamus.
I bet he wouldn't say that if I looked like Mrs. Shimmers now.
Hold your tongue, wretch. Anyway, I realized he might have killed Mr. Miles and taken poison, pretending to die so that no one would be the wiser and blame would shift elsewhere. But something kept bothering me.
It's not me, though. So why drag me out here?
You were already here.
Only corporally. My mind has been adrift in the psychic ether, gathering information on the souls of Mr. Miles. All I can gather is the mystic phrase, Yamahu Ledsta Mayak.
You're a huge nerd, Seamus.
Wait, that leaves only Jimmy the Fist.
Was it forecast to rain today? I thought it was supposed to be sunny.
Ah, yes. Jimmy the Fist. A man with motive, opportunity, and ability to murder. However, he died, during questioning.
Will we never reach the architect of this murder most foul?
Is she talking about crows? What's the connection?
Stop your antics, hooligan. No, there's another.
Stars above, your secretary!
No, I'm a figment of Dex's imagination. I've been gaslighting him for years.
Today is very frustrating. Does anyone care who the murderer is or not? So, I remember Miss Featherhammer, nie Glockensprung, mentioning the bloody knife and the green robes of the killer, but she never mentioned whether or not the robe had a hood. It wasn't Seamus, so another robed figure must have done it. And Constable, did the coroner find the cause of death?
Ah, yes. Well, it wasn't the stabbing. There is no evidence he was stabbed at all. But there was wax around, and there were red candles gathered around the room. The coroner ruled the cause of death to be a massive, completely overwhelming guilt trip.
Guilt trip?
Oh, the worst kind. And Miss Glockensprung, can you recall the types of candles that were present?
They were birthday candles.
Very good, Fraulein. But the final piece of the puzzle only fell into my grasp when I realized the handwriting on the note perfectly matches Mama Lonnie Ranger.
Dexamelian Possible Ranger, did you just accuse your own mother of murder?
Wait, Dexamelian?
Percival?
Right, forget all that. See, it was your robe that Miss Deutschland saw. It was your candles, your knife, all the pieces fit together neatly, and your grocery list perfectly matched the note on the victim's body. Yes, I accuse you of murdering Mr. Miles and poisoning Seamus Rajo Culty, all in a devilish plot to... That's where it escapes me.
Idiot.
It's her birthday, you great galoot.
Come on, Dexamelian. Even I knew that. Oh, and happy birthday, Mrs. R.
Oh,
Yes, it is. Very well, I confess. It was me. It was all me. And do you want to know why, Dexy?
is this for the plate I broke in 4th grade?
It's because it's my birthday, and you completely forgot it. I knew the only way to get your attention was through one of your cases you so dearly loved. So I orchestrated this whole event, leaving clues to my birthday everywhere. And still, you missed it, right to the very end. I almost had to strangle Miss Shimmers with a balloon. No offense, dearie.
None taken. Dex, how could you forget your mom's birthday?
Oh, I just got it. The day that time forgot. It was in the title all along.
It's always in the title. Don't you remember? The case of the elephant jam.
Right. Anyway, Mrs. R., you are under arrest for the murder of Mr. Nattering Miles, and the attempted murder of Seamus Rajo Occulti. You are going to have to come with me.
Of course, Constable. I'm too wretched and lonely anyway.
This was a wake-up call. My own mother had been sending me clues that I'd missed. Maybe if I'd sent her a card every year. Maybe if I'd visited more often. After all, I did live in her house. I could have said happy birthday before, but now she'd only hear it behind bars. I felt at a loss for the first time in a long while, and then it hit me. Wait just one moment, Constable. She might be guilty of murder, but her intentions were clearly important too. Do we have a few moments before she gets locked away for life?
I thought you'd never asked. But how are we going to celebrate her birthday?
We're in a lounge, aren't we?
That's right. Everyone, gather round. Sterling, baby, do you mind?
I can even bring the cake.
No.
For all those missing birthdays, Mom, take it away, Sterling.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday,
This episode has been brought to you by RX Brand Smokes, Smoke Yourself Healthy, and by Dino Bone Coal, the future of fuel. Thank you for joining us for this exciting segment of Rex Danger, Private Eye, and the Day That Time Forgot. And now, your cast in order of appearance. The narrator, played by David Eastman, wishing you a happy birthday.
Dex Ranger, played by Joshua Eastman. Happy birthday, Mom.
Constable Huxtable, played by Donnie, your favorite. Love you, Mom. Happy birthday.
The secretary, played by Daniela Eastman. Happy birthday, Safta.
Gloria Miles, played by Tova Eastman. Happy birthday, Emma. We love you.
Jimmy the Fist, played by Yoni Eastman. Happy birthday, Safta.
Molly Featherhammer, played by Naomi Eastman. Happy birthday, Emma. We love you.
Mr. Nattering Miles, played by Malky Underfoot.
Seamus Rajo Occulti, played by Arya. Happy birthday, Emma. Love you very much.
I'm a Lonnie Ranger, played by Ayala Eastman. Happy birthday, Emma. Love you.
Playing the part of Velvo Gazunt, your son, Samuel Bosley. Happy birthday, Emma. Many more.
Madam Vladimir Elva Gasunt, played by Michelle Bosley. Happy birthday, Emma.
Sterling Shimmers, played by Sima Eastman. Happy birthday, Emma.
Thank you for joining us, ladies and gentlemen, on 1240 a.m.
KCBL.
Please stay tuned next week for more adventures of Dex Ranger, Private Eye. This is David Eastman, signing off. Coming up next is the beloved Mickey B. Good night. Well, that's amazing. You're all still here. We didn't really expect you to stay. So, I'll provide some filler while you find something else to do. We rejoin Dex Ranger, Private Eye, as he sits in his office chair, debating on whether or not he should replace the chair or wait till the back falls off. He idly picks his nose, staring at a picture of a fish on his desk. He clearly wished it was a screensaver.
Hey, I can hear you, you know.
Who? Me?
Yeah. You're standing like 10 feet away from me.
That's, different. You aren't supposed to be able to do that.
Oh, please. It didn't take any great deduction on my part. You don't think the sound effects tipped me off something was up? Doors where clearly there wasn't any. A typewriter? You with your ads and whatnot? Like this is some sort of radio show and not real life. In fact, I'm pretty sure this magic fairy powder I've been medicating with is actually baking soda.
No. That's cocaine. It's definitely cocaine. Wait, you thought it was baking soda? Why on earth would you keep indulging in it then?
It felt like it was helping. Are you behind the organist then too?
Organist? What organist?
I had my suspicions he was lying, but what could have been his nefarious motivations behind that blank look?
I can hear your monologue too, you should know.
If you really can, what am I thinking about right now? I decided to fool the mysterious stranger by clearing my head of all thoughts completely, but instead my head filled with the haunting refrains of Baby Shark. The man with the golden voice moved closer and stood right in front of me.
What are you thinking about? I believe doot doot to do should answer all your doubts. Gumshoe.
Blast and damn! There I was, hoisted by my own petard of ignorance on the doorway to understanding. Quickly I tried to wipe my mind clear again, but instead it just moved on to the second verse of that blasted song.
Anyway, Dex, now that we can be open with each other, what is with your utter lack of an accent? You had 126 lines, and not one of them was consistent? I'm just saying, you took a lot of airtime from some real talent, and you wrote your dead cat in as the corpse of Nattering Miles? Really? Seems a bit crass.
You're one to talk, magic-voiced stranger. Advertising RX brand smokes and Cold War bombs. I thought we were only getting paid advertising from Dino Bone Coal. And what's a screensaver?
I didn't say anything about a...
Maybe this will jog your memory.
He idly picks his nose, staring at a picture of a fish on his desk. He clearly wished it was a screensaver. That doesn't sound anything like me.
Oh yeah? Maybe I'll just grab Betsy here.
At that point, I'd heard enough. With one blow, I knocked down the door and I strode into the room.
Supreme Detective Texas Dex, the Tex Ranger, Texas Ranger?
Papa Ranger!
Hello, boys. We need to talk.
Of course.
So, Dex Ranger, private eye, huh? More like ground beef once I'm through with you. Not only did you not include me in this little get-together, you also threw your mother in jail.
It's just a story. No one's really...
Don't make me travel 6,000 miles just to put a boot up where the sun don't shine, Ranger. And why are we using silly made-up names anyway?
Right, sir. Which name should we be using then?
David works for you, I believe, unless you want to have a word about those smoking ads.
Yes, Emma. I remember it all now. I'm David. No need to rehash old commercials.
Hang on a second.
Yeah, I think let's let Dex Ranger over there explain rampant drug use, murder, and romantic comedy as being an appropriate gift for your mother.
I didn't put her in jail. She committed the crime and had to pay the time.
I can see your confusion. This is a meta fourth wall type character break. So I'll give it to you slow and easy. I'm not Supreme Detective Texas Ranger any more than I was King of the Goblins. My name is Abba Eastman, and you are my sons. In fact, I know each of your co-conspirators as well.
Well, now that that's settled, we can wrap it up. Surprise segment number 1 was brought to you by...
I'm afraid you don't have your hat on, boy. You don't understand. The ball is in motion. I turned to my wayward son, the heavily confused Josh, Dex Ranger Eastman. He was muddling through, but it was time for him to get the picture, or this moment would never end.
But if you are Abba Eastman, and I am Josh Eastman, Mama Lonnie Ranger couldn't have been my mother. So, who is my real mother? Who was all this for?
Y'all should know I was about to answer, but I didn't have to. I turned, and there she was, the most beautiful woman in my universe. The birthday girl, my wife, and the mother of these well-meaning but grounded children.
Hello, I'm Ruthie Eastman.